that I've ever tried to sing to closes off when you don't make it dance. But the few I found who listen stick around slightly longer before they want to move. Hey guys, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who is watching and sharing the music video for Move or Move On. If you haven't downloaded the album, you can get it for free or pay what you like at jessegimbel.bandcamp.com. I thought it would be interesting to some to see how I put this music video together. The concept came from wanting something a little simpler to execute than my last video for Don't Get Comfortable, which required really specific locations and tough scheduling and extensive hiking and months of tedious CGI work. So I settled on this concept of a view inside of a car driving a long distance before ambiguously plunging to its demise into a body of water. This happens to be a fear that hits me kind of hard, and it was actually this intense reaction to that idea of going out that way that led me to masochistically pursue this for the concept of the video. The simplicity came from the idea of taking a photo of an interior of a car and simply laying it over footage of driving. But as you can see here, this presents some obvious issues. The big one I noticed immediately is the light outside of the car doesn't affect the light or shadows inside of the car, which makes it totally unrealistic. The other problem is it doesn't provide any way to make the car look like it's realistically filling up with water. So it seemed initially like an idea to throw away, but I think that really difficult problem solving in creative situations can often lead to really interesting and potentially awesome results. So I went through various ideas involving green screen and fish tanks and crazy CGI and stop motion, and I finally decided to solve the problem by filming it in miniature. Unfortunately, after tons of searching, I couldn't find a model or toy car that both had a realistic enough dashboard or was the proper scale to have a GoPro's viewing angle make it look like you're in the driver's seat. So I ended up going down the exhausting road of creating my own dashboard. So I started out with a block of wood. I used a real dashboard as a reference and started carving. There's 3 separate pieces: the dashboard itself, the column next to the windshield, and the steering wheel. You can see it in various stages of the process here. When the carving was finally finished, I started experimenting with different spray paints to get a car-like finish. It had to disguise the wood grain as well as protect the wood from the water it would be submerged in. I found a filler primer that self-leveled into a really plasticky finish. For the steering wheel and center console, I wanted a more flat, rubbery look, so I used a truck bed liner spray. I stenciled and hand-painted the details, and then sealed each piece with tons of coats of clear, flat spray until water would bead right off it. I used wire, glue, and screws to attach everything to a base and into something that would be a sturdy cage to be retrieved from deep water, a rubber-coated metal dish rack. I sprayed the back of a piece of plexiglass and cut it to shape for a reflective instrument panel, and installed the camera in its waterproof case and into the rig. Here is the final finished product. Next came the driving footage, but not before adding one more small detail, an orange LED, which I'll explain later. With the dish rack on my car dashboard, I filmed in various places in Pennsylvania, and while on a road trip through Maryland, Delaware, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. I filmed with a wide angle to be cropped down to size in post. When driving at night, I lit the orange LED to provide a glow on the steering wheel, which would add realism later when superimposing the speedometer and the other instruments. With the driving footage finished, the last piece to film was the car sinking. I attached some nylon ropes to the rig and found a lake about an hour from Philadelphia with 2 necessities. It allowed fishing, and it had balconies or small piers on a bridge that stood over deep water that provided a perfect spot to allow the car to sink deep enough to be in total darkness. it took a few days of trial runs, but I ended up with a shot that was as perfect as I could hope it to be. The rig hit the water, sank headfirst like a car would, and landed on the bottom of the lake. Most importantly, it was safely retrieved and dried off. So with all the footage complete and the complications dealt with, I could finally breathe again. It was really just down to the editing from here. I took the footage into After Effects and cropped out the rig and created a digital version of a speedometer and the rest of the instrument panel, and I animated the speed and revolutions per minute and the brightness and glow to match the different times of day or night in the footage. So with all of these elements together, the miniature model, the life-size road footage, and the digital elements, I was really just hoping to come up with something realistic enough to not instantly give away to a viewer that it was filmed in miniature. And I did some tests of photos and video, and it seems to have been a success, so I'm happy with it. I hope some of you have found this extensive and kind of ridiculous but fun process interesting. So thank you for watching. You look like you've been broken for 1,000 years. Maybe better we pack it in. They say